Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. If you've ever dealt with federal contracting, defense systems, or enterprise security, you know the absolute headache of the traditional compliance process. It's rough. But today, we're unpacking a massive shift. We're looking at NeuralRMF and how it's basically turning the NIST risk management framework from a massive paperwork burden into a fully automated operating system for software trust. Let's kick this off with a question you've probably agonized over at some point. What if compliance wasn't a 500-page PDF, right? What if it wasn't some static, dead document that literally goes stale the minute an auditor signs it? The sources put it perfectly. Calling a platform like NeuralRMF a traditional GRC tool is like calling a modern fighter jet a flying vehicle. It just totally misses the scale of the disruption here. We are moving way past those static filing cabinets of the past. Modern architecture needs something that actively executes, tests, and enforces your security posture right down at the code and infrastructure level. We've got a lot of dense ground to cover today, so here's our roadmap. We're going to break this architectural shift into 5 logical steps. First, the legacy compliance nightmare. Second, entering the continuous ATO. Third, how NeuralRMF actually works. Fourth, the power of documents as code. And finally, how this saves time, money, and your sanity. Section 1. The legacy compliance nightmare. We really have to start with the agonizing pain points of the past, because to truly get the solution, we've got to look at the problem. The contrast here is just stark. On one hand, you have the passive, dinosaur legacy approach. Legacy systems are basically tombs where complaints data goes to die. They send you annoying email reminders for annual audits and rely entirely on manual artifact uploads. But the active cATO approach, that's the future. It uses event-driven, real-time telemetry and automated enforcement to treat compliance as a living, breathing metric. In fact, the earliest steps of the risk management framework, prepare, categorize, and select, are finally shifting from manual PDF mapping to automated executable baselines. So, instead of those clunky qualitative impact spreadsheets and standalone memos, systems can now use automated data asset discovery that links directly to impact levels. It literally builds a foundation of truth right from step 0. Section 2. Enter the continuous ATO. So how do we actually escape this nightmare of point-in-time audits? Well, the key is understanding continuous ATO, or authority to operate. This isn't just some fancy dashboard. It is continuous, mathematically verifiable proof of security. When an organization transitions to a cATO, they're proving their security controls are working perfectly 24/7, 365. Not just on the random Tuesday an auditor happened to show up. This totally changes the game, especially for agencies like the DoD and defense contractors dealing with CMMC or FedRAMP. It solves massive administrative bottlenecks and ensures verifiable supply chain integrity using SBOMs. By embedding compliance straight into the DevSecOps pipeline, you replace annual checklists with true continuous monitoring. And the best part? It completely eliminates that frantic, last-minute audit panic. Compliance just becomes a natural byproduct of writing good code. Section 3. How NeuralRMF actually works. Let's peek under the hood at the engineering marvel making this continuous trust possible. The core engine is a closed-loop, 5-step process. Scan, detect, remediate, verify against the live system, and close. And that verification step is absolutely crucial. A finding is only closed when the running system proves the fix actually worked. The days of trust me manual closures are over. If a fix fails, the item is instantly reopened with the exact evidence of why. Looking at the latter half of the RMF lifecycle, you can see how those tedious narrative write-ups and manual interviews are completely replaced. Instead, we're talking about infrastructure as code and continuous automated telemetry. For steps 3 through 6, you're generating cryptographically signed attestation packages rather than crossing your fingers during high-stakes manual reviews. And what's wild is that this is all managed by an AI orchestrator. NeuralRMF runs 11 synchronized event-driven microengines mapped to a continuous OpenClaw agentic loop. That means the AI acts as the glue, perceiving a threat, reasoning through the compliance controls, acting on the remediation, and looping back. It easily prioritizes overlapping alerts to drastically cut down the noise for your team. Now get this number. 65,000. That is the number of automated chaos experiments and attack probes this platform survived with 0 service crashes. 0. The engineering team really hammered this system to prove its resilience isn't just theoretical. They actively hardened the platform so it actually stands up to real-world adversaries.
Section 4, the power of documents as code. Because at the end of the day, we still have to address the actual paperwork.
Imagine a world where your compliance artifacts are derived, not authored. Your system security plans and assessment reports are generated on demand from live telemetry instead of taking months to write by hand. Because everything is derived directly from the code and the live system state, there is simply no manually maintained document to ever go stale. This setup brings together POA and DEM automation, policy as code, and tamper protection in a really brilliant way. Every generated document is anchored with FIPS 143 cryptography and SHA-256 fingerprints. That means the evidence chain cannot be silently altered, not by a malicious actor and not by an accidental keystroke. This automated document engine is powerful enough to replace an entire team of compliance analysts. It runs a zero-config pipeline, generating 17+ distinct RMF deliverables. It strictly adheres to APA 7 formatting, includes integrated auditor engine scoring, and is version-controlled exactly like your software. And, crucially, it pulls real-time open vulnerability counts, no more placeholder text. Finally, Section 5, saving time, money, sanity. Because ultimately, for business leaders and federal contractors, this whole architectural evolution really comes down to one thing: massive ROI. 80%. By automating compliance mapping and evidence gathering, contractors can slash their audit preparation overhead by up to a staggering 80%. Instead of burning months of prime engineering talent on paperwork and consulting fees, your team can get back to actually building and defending systems. Let's break down the side-by-side economics here. The drop in time and cost is just precipitous. Verification that used to take hours or even days now takes seconds. Stale spreadsheets become live audit trails. Audit prep collapses from weeks into on-demand generation. And the annual cost drops from well over $150,000 down to between $80,000 and $95,000. And these savings compound rapidly across the defense industrial base. This makes real compliance actually affordable for the 12,000+ contractors bound by CMMC mandates. It completely removes that massive barrier to entry for smaller contractors trying to do business with the federal government, all while measurably improving our national security posture. But we do need to mention a major caveat from the sources. This AI engine must act as a disciplined, high-signal correlator with strict execution boundaries. Why? To prevent agentic overprivilege risks. This holy grail of automation only works if the AI doesn't possess dangerous, ungated write access to your infrastructure. Human-in-the-loop red lines are absolutely non-negotiable here. So I'll leave you to ponder this final question. If your compliance data isn't cryptographically anchored to live runtime telemetry, can you really call your system secure? In the modern threat landscape, what a static piece of paper says matters way less than what the live system actually proves. We're moving from an era of assertion to an era of mathematical verification. Thanks for joining me on this explainer to unpack the architecture of automated trust. Keep questioning the status quo, and I'll see you on the next one.